The second USS San Jacinto of the United States Navy was an Independence-class light aircraft carrier that served during World War II. She was named for the Battle of San Jacinto during the Texas Revolution. Former U.S. President George H.W. Bush served aboard the ship during World War II. Operational history. Originally laid down as the light cruiser Newark on 26 October 1942 by the New York Shipbuilding Co., Camden, New Jersey, redesignated CV-30 and renamed Reprisal on 2 June 1942, renamed San Jacinto on 30 January 1943, converted while building to a light aircraft carrier and reclassified as CVL-30, launched on 26 September 1943, sponsored by Mary Gibbs Jones, and commissioned on 15 November 1943. Captain Harold M. Martin in command. After shakedown in the Caribbean, San Jacinto sailed via the Panama Canal, San Diego, and Pearl Harbor for the Pacific War Zone. Arriving at Majuro, Marshall Islands, she joined Vice Admiral Mark Mish's Task Force 5838th, the fast carrier striking force of the Pacific Fleet. There at San Jacinto embarked Air Group 51, whose fighters and torpedo planes would be the ship's chief weapons in battle. Mariana's actions. After providing search patrols to protect other carriers striking at Wake and Marcus Islands, San Jacinto, by 5 June 1944, was ready to participate in the largest fleet action since the Battle of Midway, almost exactly 2 years before. On the day, Task Force 58 sorted from Majuro and headed toward the Marianas to conduct airstrikes preparatory to American seizure of Saipan and to protect the invasion forces from enemy air and naval attack. This American thrust triggered a strong Japanese reaction. On 19 June, the Japanese fleet launched more than 400 planes against the invasion fleet and the covering carrier force. In the ensuing air battle, known to American pilots as the Marianas Turkey Shoot, more than 300 enemy planes were shot down, while San Jacinto's planes were achieving the most one-sided victory of the war. Her gunners helped to down the few attackers able to get near the American ships. Then, at dusk, Admiral Mitch dispatched an all-carrier attack after the retreating enemy fleet. The night recovery of the returning planes was accomplished amid considerable confusion. Reportedly, a Japanese carrier plane attempted a landing approach on San Jacinto, only to be waved off by the landing signal officer because its hook was not down. San Jacinto then participated in strikes against Trota and Guam and furnished combat air patrol and anti-submarine patrol for her task group. During these raids, a San Jacinto fighter pilot was shot down over Guam and spent 17 days in a life raft trying to attract attention and 16 nights hiding on the island. After a refueling and replenishment stop at Eniwetok Atoll, San Jacinto joined in carrier strikes against the Palaus on 15 July. On 5 August, her targets were Chichihaha and Iwo Jima. A brief stop at Eniwetok preceded dawn to dusk cap and asp duty, while other carriers struck Chap, Ulithi, Angua and Babelthwap, pinning down Japanese air forces while the Palaus were being assaulted on 15 September. On 2 September, while piloting a TBF Grumman Avenger from VT-51, future President George H.W. Bush was shot down by anti-aircraft fire while attacking Japanese installations on the island of Chichijima. Bush completed his bombing run, then guided his crippled plane out to sea. The 2 other crew members were lost, but Lieutenant Bush parachuted into the sea and was rescued by the submarine Finback for his actions in the successful attack. Bush received the Distinguished Flying Cross. Following a replenishment stop at Manus, Admiralty Islands, San Jacinto joined in strikes against Okinawa and furnished photographic planes to get information necessary for future invasion plans. After refueling at sea, she once again supplied dawn-to-dusk air protection as other carriers sent strikes against Formosa, northern Luzon, and the Manila Bay area from 12 to the 19th of October. During operations on the 17th of October, a fighter plane made a very hard landing and inadvertently fired its machine guns into the ship's island structure, killing 2 men and wounding 24, including her commanding officer, and causing considerable damage to radar. Despite this accident, San Jacinto remained battle-worthy, as American troops landed on Leyte in the central Philippines on the 20th of October. San Jacinto provided close air support. On the 24th of October, this mission was interrupted by news of the three-pronged approach of the Japanese fleet, which precipitated the largest fleet battle in naval history. Philippines. San Jacinto sent planes against the Central Force in the Sibuyan Sea, then raced north to launch strikes against the Northern Force, resulting in heavy damage to the Japanese carriers and surface combatants off Cape Engano. On the 30th of October, her fighters furnished air protection over Leyte while her guns shot down 2 planes attempting suicide attacks on the ship. After a pause at Ulithi, the carrier joined in attacks on the Manila Bay area, then took a side trip to Guam to exchange air groups, receiving Air Group 45. She received slight damage during a typhoon in December 1944. After completing repairs at Ulithi, San Jacinto and the rest of her fast carrier force entered the South China Sea and launched massive air attacks on the airfields of Formosa and against shipping at Cam Ranh Bay, French Indochina, and at Hong Kong. By refueling and replenishing at sea, Task Force 38 was able to continue its pressure on the enemy and strategic support for the American invasion of Luzon by strikes against the Ryukyu Islands. Attacks over Japan. Next, San Jacinto joined in the first carrier strikes against the home islands of Japan. During the raids on 16 and 17 February 1945, carrier-based aircraft downed many enemy planes during fierce dogfights over airfields in the Tokyo area. These operations were designed to cover the imminent invasion of Iwo Jima. Next came air support for the landing Marines, followed by further strikes against Tokyo and Okinawa before San Jacinto returned to Ulithi. While conducting operations off Kyushu, Japan, she witnessed the conflagration on Franklin, and, on the 19th of March 1945, narrowly escaped destruction herself when a kamikaze barely missed her. More massive enemy attacks came with Operation Iceberg, as the carrier force furnished air support for the invasion of Okinawa. On the 5th of April, more than 500 planes, primarily kamikazes, attacked. Fighter planes and anti-aircraft guns shot down about 300, but many got through. San Jacinto's gunners shot the wing off a would-be suicide plane, deflecting its dive, and splashed another only 50 feet off her port bow. Her mission of covering the Okinawa invasion entailed heavy air activity and kept the ship almost constantly at general quarters while supporting ground forces and repelling frequent attacks by suicide planes. On the 7th of April, San Jacinto's bombers torpedoed the Japanese destroyers Hamikaze and Asashimo, part of a naval suicide attack in which super battleship Yamato was also sunk. San Jacinto then returned to the dangerous job of defending against the suicide plane attacks, striking at the kamikaze airfields on Kyushu, and providing close air support for ground forces fighting on Okinawa. On the 5th of June, she successfully rode out another typhoon and, after replenishing at Leyte, sortied for her final raids as part of Task Force 58. Her aircraft struck at Hokkaido and Honshu, Japan, on the 9th of July and continued to operate off the coast of Japan until the end of hostilities on the 15th of August 1945. After the ceasefire prior to Japan's formal surrender, her air missions over Japan then became mercy flights over Allied prisoner of war camps, dropping food and medicine until the men could be rescued. She was present at Tokyo Bay for the Japanese surrender on the 2nd of September 1945. Her wartime mission completed, San Jacinto returned home and tied up at NAS Alameda, California, on the 14th of September 1945. Fate. She was decommissioned on the 1st of March 1947 and joined the Pacific Reserve Fleet berthed at San Diego. Reclassified as an auxiliary aircraft transport on the 15th of May 1959, she was struck from the Navy list on the 1st of June 1970. Her hull was sold for scrapping on the 15th of December 1971 to National Metal and Steel Corporation, Terminal Island, Los Angeles, California. Awards. Presidential Unit Citation, Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal with 5 battle stars. World War II Victory Medal, Navy Occupation Medal with Asia Class.